We haven't gone live yet, but we're about to go live now on YouTube. So I'll say that all again. Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to our True Temperance International Season 3 of our Family Health Show. So I say welcome back. I mean, we've been back since our long summer break. We've been back, but we've not been on for 2 weeks. So, 2 weeks is like a long time when we've been used to being on every week for almost 2 years. And so, we're doing this where we'll present, have a little break for a week or two, and then come back on again. So it's good to have you with us. And those of you who are joining us on YouTube, thanks for joining us. So looking forward to a wonderful session of time today of sharing and learning and just learning about our amazing bodies. Last season, it was entitled Fearfully and Wonderfully Made, Know Your Body. And we went through the different body systems. We went through some vitamins and minerals as we, focused on the different things such as the skeletal system, the respiratory system. There's about 9 or maybe 10 if you include the microbiome and as well as another system. So yeah, there's a few systems out there, but we looked at almost all of them, as well as focusing on vitamins and minerals. This season is coming to an end, season 3, with our hope theme. So I'll just, okay. And for those of you who don't know me, my name's Sharon, okay? I'm assuming everybody knows who I am because, we've been together on this platform for a long time. So thank you once again for joining us today and for your patience as we come on every other week. And sometimes we let you in maybe a minute or two late, so forgive us for that. Okay, so I'm just going to run through a couple of slides here. Charlene is co-hosting with myself, so you'll hear her voice, but you won't necessarily see her face. So Charlene, hi.
Good afternoon, Sharon. Good afternoon, everyone.
Okay, and Charlene is accompanied in the background with her family. So we will quickly go through these slides before we dive into another episode. So as I was saying, season 3, Charlene, can you talk us through what we've been doing?
Let me see that.
Yes, so for season 3, it was a series from the word hope. So we had it as an acronym. So each session was a different topic. So we've had H for health, and that session was taken by Louise Reed. And then we had O for optimistic by, oh dear, Sharon.
Sorry, it's an old slide. It says opportunities. It should have been optimism.
Yeah, optimism from
Adrian.
That's
Paradise.
it, Adrian Paradise. Sorry, Adrian, if you're listening. Adrian Paradise, and then P for positivity by Jackie Brown, and then we have E for encouragement by Dr. Melbourne Laing.
Okay, and they are all in keeping with New Start. So there is the poster for today. And those of you who have seen I'm actually kind of preempting the next slide. But anyway, so yes, we do have Brother Melbourne Laing on with us today. I'm sure he will pronounce his name properly when he comes on, because I'm not sure if I've said Laing or Lang but you'll tell me right. You'll tell me right. Okay, so that's today. So thank you for finding your way over to TTI, True Temperance International. Dr. Melbourne, if you are speaking, I just muted you for a moment because I saw your lips moving, but you can unmute when you're ready to speak. Okay. Right, so moving on. So we have a new website. We launched it. Well, we didn't do like a launch show, but it's live. Okay, we have a new website for True Temperance International, and we will show you aspects of it later, but feel free to go on. And as you can see, the address is www.ttinternational.org. Okay, I repeat, www.ttinternational.org. Shirley, what do we have on our website?
So on our website, we have, well, I don't know if we haven't mentioned it as yet. We had a health conference in August. So on the website, it has the testimonials from some of the guests that were with us, the attendees. So we have the testimonials on there. We have the events page. We have recipes, a few recipes on there, and trying to think what else is there. Oh yeah, and the New Start, how we follow the New Start as a foundation of our health. So the New Start regarding nutrition, exercise, water, sunshine, temperance, air, rest, and trust in God. And then also in terms of health and using essential oils, that's on the website as well. I'm not sure if I missed anything else, Sharon, but that's what we have on there.
We also have a place where we have upcoming events. So it's not just the TTI events. We have some, we've had cooking demos. Last week, Sunday, we had Plant Easy. They had, Janine had a lady present on women's hormones, and I'm sure Janine could do a better job of describing it than I can. So feel free to jump in at any time if you're able to have audio, Janine. And she spoke about well-being,
women's health, and women's
hormones. And then we had food that will enhance women's health, and there was a cooking demonstration. We also have adverts for, as well as our upcoming programs, our upcoming health conference, and there's other things that will be on there. So I'm not going to tell you all about it. The best thing really is for you to go over. So go over to www.ttinternational.org. There's also an opportunity for you to send us messages, and we can have like little chats going on. So it's our website for you to engage with us, as well as with our Telegram groups and our WhatsApp groups. Okay, and what's on here next? Okay, little sneak preview. Right, also, we've not been putting it on the chat recently, but I must remember to put that on a slide. We do have our Telegram and WhatsApp groups. So if you are female, we have a female focused Telegram group, because obviously there's some things that may pertain specifically to women's health. So that's on that one. Then we have the men's health group on Telegram. And obviously you have to have Telegram downloaded on your device, and then you just click on the URL and you can go in to join in the group. And we have the spiritual health group, where devotions can be shared, possibly maybe sermons or things that are relevant to our health and our spiritual life. So feel free to join that. Hopefully one of my colleagues will be putting the links in the chat on this Zoom platform, and perhaps towards the end I'll have it on the slide so we can have it for those who are on YouTube. You'll be able to get the URL and join our groups to stay in touch. Okay, so Kef and Lee, it is Come Apart and Rest a While, Revive, Rejuvenate, Reform. So this is our health conference, and last year we had one in August, the end of August. I think it was the 29th of August to the 4th of September. We spent a week in the beautiful countryside of Cefn Lee, which is in mid Wales, Powys. And we had a fantastic time. We had presenters, we had workshops, we had live demos, we had exercise, we had walking, we had fellowship, food, plant-based food, and time to relax and just come away from your home and your bills and all of those kind of things. We know the cost of living is going up, etc., etc. We can't deny it's there, but it's a time to just clear your mind for a bit. And it was fantastic. And that's a group of our friends from Hackney in North London who came. So there they are, promoting our Cefn Lee. So for next year, it's going to be on, well, the poster's coming up, but for more information for booking, there's 2 email addresses. We have the ahreformers@gmail.com and ttinternational, sorry, just moving this out of the way. ttinternational777@gmail.com. But we also have our website, which I mentioned earlier. From our websites, you can download the booking form, and there's also 2 phone numbers there that you can call or leave a message if there's no answer. So the numbers are the UK numbers, and this event is held in the UK, but feel free, you can have a holiday, come over and see us. And the UK numbers are 7733 787 061, and the +4 is to get into the UK, 77639 25550. Okay, so if you're in the UK, just dial 0 in front and drop off the 44. So it's 0776 392 550. Okay, so that's that. And let's see what's next. So there you go. There's our poster, Come Apart and Rest a While, our health reform. So this is for the 28th of August, 2023. We didn't put the year on there, but it is for next year, to the 3rd of September. And we'll have a collaboration of ministries coming around together from, it says from around the globe. Yes, there will be places, people joining us from other than the UK. So we have workshops such as Christian financial management, men's health, the deadly trio, obesity, diabetes, and hypertension, practical home remedies, and this will be hands-on. We have a physiotherapist joining us, David Bartholomew. His session was very popular. In fact, all of the sessions were popular last year. We have essential oils workshop, practical plant-based cooking, so that's live demos. Cancer does not mean the end. And the final one is, we have different ways to preserve foods and drinks as well. That's looking at preserving your food in the last days, as well as just to make your, to make your pennies last. And also we have a children's workshop on mini missionaries. So the last time we were on, Jackie Brown presented her children capable missionaries. Even one has a health book, a cooking book, And so they'll be leading out for the children's workshop, mini missionaries. We also have treatment rooms, which we had last year, which are very, very popular. So you'll be looking at, hands-on. If you come, you've got a particular condition, you fill out a work feedback form or just an information form so we know about your health. And then there will be relevant therapies available. So whether it's steaming, massaging, there was heat lamp, the heat lamp, and other types of therapies. And then we have the ministerial support for the devotions in the morning and in the evening. And as you can see, we have Brother Mayman Wilson, Dr. Melbourne Laing, Andre Crawford, and Dr. Pastor Sam Davis. So please, 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 if you want to come, you don't want to miss out. You don't want to find out that all the chalets, caravans, and what else is there? Accommodation, chalets, caravans, and the bungalow. We don't want to find that they've all been booked up. Some of them are en suite, some of them are not en suite. Okay, but if you're in the bungalow, you'll still have a bathroom in your chalet. Okay, Edgar's whispering things to me. I'm not sure what he's telling us. Okay, he's telling me. Okay, yeah, I did talk about the food demos already, but yes, there is a picture there of Alvin and Louise from Golden Palms. So let's move on. Oh, is that it? Okay, well, I haven't got the disclaimer up. Forgive me there. That wasn't the best PowerPoint slide on there. But what I was going to say also is in January, we're going to have some cooking shows, live cooking shows. So that will be the next session that you'll be doing, we'll be doing with you from TTI, from this Zoom session. So today is the last one for this year. And in January, we'll have some live cooking shows with Golden Palms and with Jackie Brown and her family. They'll be sharing some healthy desserts, and Alvin and Louise will be doing savory. Okay, savory, all plant-based cooking. A lot of us want to know how to go plant-based, And a lot of people struggle, even though you're plant-based, we struggle with, or even though you may be going for a plant-based alternative, we struggle with desserts because everybody likes, well, most people like desserts. And how do we make them sweet and healthy? Okay, so they, Jackie's daughter Michaela has a lovely cookbook, so she's going to be sharing with us how to make healthy desserts that are plant-based for you. Okay, and I'm going to stop my screen share because there's not much more I have on there. Okay. Thank you, those of you who joined us, and I have, you've missed the welcome. Now, before we dive into introducing our presenter, most of you are aware of the 8 health laws. Is this, am I correct? Show of hands, virtual hands. Okay, so our 8 health laws. Shirley, can you just run through? I did this to you last time, but I'm going to do it again so you've had practice. Can you remind us the 8 health laws?
Yes, it's N for nutrition, E for exercise, W for water, S for sunshine, T for temperance, A for air, R for rest, and T for trust in God.
Thank you, Shirley. So that she went through them really, really quickly. Okay. Now I'm going to ask Dr. Melbourne about laws because I was listening to something that he had recorded on YouTube, but I just went on a little walk just before we came on for about 45 minutes. And I was listening to a presentation he did on the law. Now I'm going to ask him something because a lot of times when we hear the word law, we think, ah, and we kind of think of it in a negative connotation, like, have I done something wrong? Have I done something wrong? You know, the law is you do not drive beyond, I don't know, faster than 70 miles an hour. Or the law is you shall have no other gods before me. Or the law is you should not go through the traffic lights when it's on red, or whatever the law is. And you always got to think, oh, have I done it right? Have I done it right? Am I in trouble? And a lot of times we have a negative kind of attitude, well, not negative, but we see it as something that, oh my, you know, I need to do this right. I need to get this right. So with regards to our 8 health laws, I'm going to ask Dr. Melbourne, do you find, I've not even introduced you yet. Please unmute and say hi. Okay, we cannot hear you, Dr. Melbourne.
He's on mute.
I know he is. You'll need to unmute yourself. Okay, maybe he doesn't realize I'm speaking to him. Okay, well, the question I was going to ask is, in fact, let me read an introduction to him and then maybe he'll realize because 20 minutes have gone by now. Okay.
Okay, so, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Sure. I heard everything what you've said earlier.
Okay, so before you answer my question, I'll just say Dr. Melbourne Laing, he's currently in Germany. He's married to Priscilla Laing with children Elisha, Josiah, Hadassah, and they founded Bible Way Ministry. So this was founded by Dr. Melbourne and Priscilla, but I'm sure his children are very much involved in the ministry as well.
Yes.
It was established in 2007, and many people have been trained from America, Europe, Africa, Australia, New Zealand, Cook Islands, and Asia. Students have been trained by this ministry, and they've started their own schools and wellness center in the various continents. So that is a lot of work that you've been doing, and you've been impressed to do that. And we are so grateful, and we are so gracious to have you on here too. So my question to you by way of introduction is, do you see the health laws as restrictive? I suppose that's a closed question. Do you see the health laws as restrictive?
Do you see that the middle line in the highways or on the road restrictive?
Okay, but I want your answer.
Well, that's my answer. Okay, so you see, because I'm actually, and I'm not just, I hear what you said, but we also understand that that they are deeper, that there's a deeper question about that. I mean, people, essentially what that question is saying is, why can't I be free and do whatever I want and still be healthy?
Yes.
Okay,
And so
yeah. So
I
that
was
is
going to
why
say, if it's not restrictive, then why?
because just as the middle line on the road is not restrictive because it saves you from hitting the oncoming traffic, so is the laws of health. It is the best way to regulate all of the functions of the organs, the way how it was designed. For example, okay, I don't like to drink. I'm not going to drink today. I hate going to the toilet. Okay, by not drinking, your blood will agglutinate because more than 78% of the blood, or rather 98% of the blood is water. So what are you going to do with it? How are you going to make the agglutination to free up by drinking properly? Some people would say, I rather drink Coca-Cola. All right, if you're drinking Coca-Cola, what are you going to do with the effect of the sugar which also has cationic value on its molecule, and it will cause erythrocyte to coagulate?
Yeah.
What are you going to do with that? No. I prefer drinking peppermint tea. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's a very strong diuretic. So if you drink a glass, you're losing a glass and a half, sometimes two. So you are literally dehydrating yourself. So nothing can replace water. Now, does that mean that it's wrong for me to drink tea? No, that's not what I mean. Just balance it out. What about me drinking all of these, the other beverages that is sweet and delicious? Well, I'm not saying it is wrong. All I'm saying is don't miss out providing the body with H2O, water, that would actually be used by the body to make up the volume, which is 98% in the blood, requires, because the body requires water for that. That's just an example. So it is not a restriction actually to the true sense of the word. Just as much as the middle line of the highway is not a restriction, it is a protection. And so the 8 laws of health is essentially something that would actually cause all the metabolic systems and the metabolic functions to work properly as God has designed it. Yeah.
Okay.
Any more questions?
No. That's good, because, and what I thought was really good was that you mentioned that the peppermint tea, because I didn't know that peppermint tea was a diuretic.
Just type in. You just type in on the Google nowadays. Just Google it and say, is peppermint diuretic? Type it in.
Okay.
Do that right now if you want.
So are all herbal teas diuretics?
Yeah. Now, I'm just naming one. In fact, as a rule, most of, if not all of the aromatic, all of the aromatic teas, let's say fennel tea, for example, or peppermint, and all of the aromatic, they carry diuretic properties.
Brilliant. Thank you for that, because that's one of the things that we do on TTI. We're educating. So I really appreciate that answer. That's amazing.
Right.
Amazing.
Right. And also not only aromatic, the tannin base herb also has a purging or diuretic effect. So is the alkaloid rich herbs, such as Saint Mary thistle, for example. Okay, that's it contains bitter in there. All of the bitter herbs, it will activate the liver so much, and the liver is one of the main organs in the body that requires lots of water.
Wow.
Right.
Thank you so much. Right, so before we dive more into the presentation, you've heard from Dr. Melbourne Laing, and you know he's going to have so much information for us. So thank you so much. Before we dive into it, though, I'm just going to go through our disclaimer. So Charlene, are you still able to read through? Are you still able to unmute?
Yes, it's fine.
Okay, thank you. Can you just go through our disclaimer, please?
Only a professional health practitioner can diagnose or treat medical conditions. Any information discussed on the True Temperance International Family Health Show is for educational and informational purposes only. Please continue to seek professional medical advice from your GP or health practitioner regarding any disease you may be suffering from.
Thank you, Charlene. Thank you so much. Okay, so we're putting that just to remind people that if you do have an illness and you are under medication or you are under professional help, we're not asking you to just listen to everything that we say and forget your advice. No, if you see anything on here that you think, you know what, I want to try that out, then you consult with your health practitioner, and you know, you with their guidance, you do apply what you can apply. And when you see the results, you let them know what results are happening. And if they say changes need to take place, then changes can take place, and you continue with your healthy lifestyle and give the praise and the glory and the honor to the Almighty. Amen. Okay, right. So we're going to dive into now our presentation for today. We have Dr. Melbourne Laing, if you've not heard the introduction before. And I am going to be quiet now as he shares with us the information that he has on encouragement. So we're in a world where things seem to be quite tough, whether it's wars, whether it's illness, whether it's economic crisis, whether it's you know, you're hearing bad news. Even in the UK this week, we had some terrible news of some young boys who fell into the ice, skating on the ice. The water went and 4 precious lives were lost. So there's a lot of bad news. What encouragement do we have? So Dr. Melbourne, we're going to invite you to share your screen and just fill us with a presentation on encouragement. So over to you as I mute, and you're gonna,
Yeah, I'm sharing it right now.
You are sharing your screen. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it will take some seconds probably for it to respond. I'm on the, do you see presenter? Or not?
Yeah, you just need to click on that button where your mouse is hovering. Just to, we can see your notes at the moment.
Okay, hold on a moment. Okay, this is Zoom.
Okay, there are some people that are struggling with sound. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, I'm going to stop the thing first.
Yeah, you're gonna take it into presenter mode. There we go. Oh, you just did it.
Pardon?
You just did it, but then your screen share just went.
Yeah, okay then. Okay. Okay, so how is it now?
It just says you started sharing your screen. Right, there's a few people that are having problems with the sound. So I'm just asking them what they could, well, there's no point me saying it because they won't actually hear me. But I'm saying they can either join us on YouTube or leave and rejoin. And can we get the link to YouTube? Just go in the chat, please.
Okay, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, what do you see now? Is it the presenter or the main?
It is how it should be. We've got your screen, the PowerPoint slide, that's it. We
Okay,
can't, yeah, we can't see your notes.
all right, excellent, good. So what I need to do now is to go back into my note here. Okay, excellent. All right, welcome everyone. Yeah, good afternoon, brothers and sisters. Blessed Sabbath. For those who are keeping the Sabbath, for those who are not, have a good enjoyment or enjoyable time with us today as we learned. My name is Dr. Melvin Laing, currently living in Germany, as already introduced earlier. I appreciate the invitation to share in this webinar. Thank you, Sharon. Sorry, the name of your husband again, please.
Edgar, Charlene, Jonathan. I only have one
Jonathan.
husband, sorry, Edgar.
Edgar, okay. Well, thank you, Edgar. Thank you,
Chris and
Sharon,
Janine.
for inviting me. And today's presentation, and the topic is based on the verb encourage. Encourage. Now, that has brought me into a deep, deep thinking mode of what I should be, sharing and how I'll be sharing it. And so it took me some time to think, and whoa, this topic is even developed. It's even, developed us out from one word, hope. Am I right? One word, hope. And I believe that these presentations went through an exciting process of metamorphosis, because the origin of this entire presentation was based on that chosen word, hope, as I've said earlier. And several presenters have given their words of wisdom, covering the other letters in the word. And today we have come to the last letter of the word, E, of the alphabet E, the letter E. And so listen, how many knows how many words starts with the letter E? I'd like to talk with you now. Let's start with you, Edgar or Sharon. How many words do you think?
How many words?
Yeah, how many words? Just throw a guess.
75 million? No, sorry, that's probably an exaggeration. Okay, I know, 1 million. Just say 1 million.
1 million? Okay, well, that's too much.
In the English language. In the English language.
Yeah, on the English language, yes, of course. We are talking about English language here. The words that begins with letter E, found in most dictionaries, let's say Oxford Dictionary or Cambridge Dictionary. Okay, statistically speaking, there are 634 words in the English dictionary that begins with the letter E. Any word selected from these 634 words can be used for today's topic. And we could have chosen any word, right? For example, we could have chosen the word excitement, ecstasy, or we could have chosen the word efficiency or education, and many more promising words. But today we settled for the word encouragement. And I think this choice is excellent. Why? Well, several current events are impacting people all over the globe. You know, the current war in Ukraine, as you have already said earlier, or as you have alluded to, the rumors of war in North Korea against the South, and the US against Taiwan, or rather, sorry, against South and the US earlier. Okay, the North Korea is against South Korea and US, China against Taiwan, and currently the current pandemic, which literally terrorizing the entire world. And therefore, encouragement is a wise choice. However, to encourage actually is a neutral word. Did you know that? Did you know that encourage is a neutral word? I want interaction. We have been, how do I say, impressed. We have been influenced to think that the word encouragement is only for positive things. That is not entirely true. It is actually a neutral word which can be used for positive things or negative things, optimistic things or pessimistic things. By normative, we mean especially an assumed norm regarded as the standard of correctness in behavior, speech, writings, or the correct choice to make according to circumstances which are most conducive. Because many people are saying, no, this word encouragement is normatively only for good. Not really so. However, we are going to study the practical application of this word encouragement within the context of optimism, positivity, and resiliency. So what is the main point of the word encouragement? Is it about telling people who are feeling despondent, discouraged, and sad about their state of being? Let's say they are in this position because of failure, failure in business, or failure in marital failure, loss of something, or loss of someone, or an error had been committed, or there was missteps in business or whatever important decisions they may be, or the person have just had a fight with their spouses, or an argument with neighbors or siblings, or even jealousy. I don't know about you over in England, but there are many Adventists and non-Adventists, Christian and not Christian, Muslim or whatsoever. They are angry, worried, unsure about what to do regarding the pandemic and about conventional mitigation that have not worked on a large scale. There are reports of healthy people dying after receiving corona treatment. Is that the same over there? It is over here. We have the wellness center. Well, I don't call it wellness center. We have a lifestyle center here, and we are receiving, especially earlier this year, high influx of people that were suffering from this corona. Some have been vaccinated, some not, but nonetheless they were suffering, and by God's grace, many actually recovered. And why do I say many? It would be an exaggeration if I say all recovered. Why? Because especially those that has been vaccinated. Some had suffered from an irreversible consequence, irreversible damage to their body. And sadly, some of them actually passed away because they came to us rather late and they were already very chronic when they came over to our place. And so these people were feeling discouraged. They were angry. And this is the type of people that needed encouragement the most. So the focus of encouragement is to lift up the race towards something better, something more valuable, something brighter, something more beneficial. To encourage, therefore, is to motivate one to improve from the depressing status quo and courageously face the challenge of making things better. That's the key word, to make things better. You're encouraging people in the positive sense so that the person's condition becomes better. The real focus of encouragement goes beyond making the depressed or discouraged person to emotionally feeling better. No, not only that, the purpose of encouragement is to educate the despondent and discouraged to change their mindset or the paradigm. Change the mindset, change the paradigm. What is being changed? Is it only the emotion? No. Change the thinking processes, change the key thoughts, change the how we see things, change that. And the encouragement is actually focusing on this. It's not only about it's okay, everything will go well. No, that is only dealing with emotion, and it could be, sadly, it could be a fake type of encouragement. When we want to encourage people, it is best to focus on truthfulness and honesty. Truthfulness and honesty. We do that a lot. See, you see this picture here, right? Encouragement is like this. You see, the person that has fallen the cliff doesn't want just words. Hey, it'll be okay with you down there. No. The encouragement should be accompanied with something that is practical, like the extended hand to clasp with the hand of the person that was below down the cliff, and you pull him up. So, like what I've said earlier, encouragement demands practical approaches. It's not just theory. And if, let's say, encouraging words should be uttered, it should be backed up with the plan to put whatever words said into action. Okay, I stop for a few seconds there, and I want interaction. Open it up. Sharon, open it up. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, now open them up. Okay. So, like I said earlier, we want that practical encouragement, not just theoretical. And why is it like that? As we see on the picture, we know well that there is a Bible verse. There is a Bible verse, and it is found in 1 Corinthians. Correction. It is found in 1 John chapter 3. And the Bible says in this reference, I'm going to see if I could switch that. Can everyone see the Bible here? Okay, all right. Nonetheless, let me. I beg your pardon?
No, we can't see it.
Okay, I stopped sharing and I changed it one more time here. I'll go here and I go on screen number 1. And so everyone can see. Can you see the Bible now?
It's just taking time to load.
Okay, okay. Now
It
again,
says you-
I can see it says Zoom.
Okay, yes, we can see it now.
Oh, you can see the Bible, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I close this dialog box. All right. Now, is the letter big enough? Okay, it's much better here, I think. So I'm going to take you to this word here, 1 John and chapter 3. Notice the type of encouragement that the Bible recommends us do. And I'm going to take you one here. It says, moment. Here, let's read verses 16 and 17. The Bible says, hereby perceive we the love of God, because he laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for the brethren. Is that practical? Is that theory?
That looks like practical to me.
Right. Let's go to verse 17. But whoso hath this world's good, and seeth his brother have need, and shutteth up his bowel of compassion from him, how dwelleth the love of God in him? Is that practical? Is that practical or theory?
Again,
Practical.
that looks practical, yeah.
That is a practical. So once we want to encourage someone, it should be in a practical form. That's the focus. That's the focus. And if there is any way for us to be confused about what practical help, practical encouragement means, remember what Jesus had done. When he was on earth, he wasn't just preaching. He was not just teaching, but he was most of the time going out there, laying hands on those sick, and at the same time giving them words of encouragement accompanied with action. Is that making sense?
Yes, it does.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Right.
Sharon and Dr. Melbourne, it sounds like the medical missionary work, doesn't it?
Exactly right.
Without a doubt.
Encouragement. Mhm.
Right. So let me take you there. Okay. This is found in Matthew chapter 9. Let's go to Matthew chapter 9. And I'll take you to this Bible verse here. And Christ was healing those many people. And then right here. Okay. And Jesus went about all the cities, villages, teaching in their synagogues, and preaching the gospel of the kingdom, and healing every sickness and every disease among the people. Is that practical, or did he just stay with teaching and preaching? No. The
No, he
Bible-
didn't do it. He didn't do it remotely or virtually. He did it. He hands-on.
That's right. He was a hands-on. That is actually the most effective. This is the most effective way to encourage. It is medical missionary. If you come with me to that verse, in verse 35 we have read earlier, the Bible says, he went around healing every sickness and every disease among the people. Okay, so there are different aspects of how we can do the encouraging, but let's do a little bit about the philosophy of encouragement. How do we encourage people? There are 5 points that I'd like to highlight today. Number 1, what is the philosophy of encouragement from the Bible and the spirit of prophecy? I would like to show that. Secondly, the benefits of being an encourager. Really? Are the benefits to encourage people? And what is the neuroscience of discouragement, depression? I will just touch a little bit on that, but it's going to be practical. What is the neuroscience of encouragement or motivation? The connection of dopamine, parasympathetic, melatonin, immune system, metabolism, digestion, and respiratory. To what? To encouragement. So I will mention a little bit later on during the course of this presentation. Really? Encouragement can trigger or can influence dopamine production? How about, and it can actually help parasympathetic nervous system. It helps melatonin production, and the immune system will be affected positively. Metabolism will be helped. Digestion and respiratory can be helped with this concept of encouragement. All right. So let's go from here, right? How about the philosophy of encouragement from the Bible and spirit of prophecy? I'm going to go there and see how we will be blessed by this. Why is there encouragement for optimism or positivism? Why is there encouragement for this in this regard?
Dr. Melbourne, there's a hand. Someone's got a hand up. I'm not sure if they're asking you a question.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Mr. Joan?
Someone is, go ahead.
No, that was from before when I wanted to say that encouragement sounds a bit like the medical missionary work when you were going through the Bible verses, Dr. Melbourne. Sorry,
Oh,
Shari,
yeah.
it was up from the last time.
All right. Okay. All right. And you are spot on there, sister. You are spot on. So in our everyday lives, we confront a host of moral issues. And why do we start like that? Because encouragement is actually an expression of morality. We confront a host of moral issues. once we have deliberated and formed judgments about what is right or wrong, good or bad, these judgments tend to have a marked hold on us. Although in the end, we do not always behave as we think we ought. Our moral judgments typically encourage or motivate us, at least to some degree, to act in accordance with them. Let me emphasize again, to encourage someone, to share words of encouragement to someone who is in despondent, that is actually a moral act. And I will explain in a moment how how is that really so philosophically, when we talk about moral encouragement, motivation, because to encourage and to motivate, they are actually two different words, it seems, but the action, the motive behind these two words is, if not similar, perhaps it is the same. This is the basic phenomenon that they seek to understand, the philosophers that is. And moral encouragement or motivation is an instant of a more general phenomenon. And as I've said earlier, it goes beyond just words. It is accompanied with action. As the sister have rightly mentioned earlier, it is directly connected to the medical missionary work. In fact, if you want to really be effectively encouraging people, do medical missionary work. So this phenomenon, as I mentioned earlier, can be better expressed through medical missionary work. So what we might call normative encouragement, as I've already alluded to earlier, for our other normative judgment also typically have some motivating force. When we make the normative judgment that something is good for us, or that we have a reason to act in a particular way, or that a specific cause of action is the rational cause, we also tend to be moved into doing something. Okay, we are moved towards what? Doing what? We are moved to do what, everyone?
Respond to a need.
To respond to a need. Name what need, for example. Give an example.
Feed somebody.
Okay, feed somebody. So in other words, you will say, when you see someone hungry down there, okay, no, it doesn't have to be sitting on the floor, but someone hungry, even in your own house, and you say, oh, sorry, you're hungry. Okay, it's not just like that. It should be, can I offer you something to eat? It's a verb, it's an action word. That is a very, very powerful way to express encouragement. So when we encourage and we encourage people, and we have chosen a certain set of thoughts to express, and you're ready to put into action, it is based off that judgment that you made in your mind. And there's a force to that. There's a motivating force for you to not just say it, but to act it out. And when we make the normative judgment, that something is good for us or something is good for the person whom you are encouraging, you you then will reason to act in a particular way, or that the specific course of action is the rational course. And we also tend to be moved into, like I said earlier, into action. So again, the emphasis that I made from so far is that it is not just mere words. Many people have regarded the encouragement or motivating force of normative judgments as the key feature that mark them as normative, thereby distinguishing them from many other judgments as we make. In contrast to our normative judgment, our mathematical and empirical judgment, for example, seems to have no intrinsic connection with encouragement and action. So we are going to separate those two. Let's say if you want, we see someone, they're hurting. Let's say a person have just lost loved ones, and so you're thinking, should I or should I not? Should I not encourage this person? And so if you're just calculating, like mathematically, you know that that if you are going to be of benefit at all to someone who is grieving, then you need to act. You need to put your good thoughts into action. But there's something that motivates that. What is it that motivates a person to move forward and say, oh, I see that you are sad over there. Is there anything I can do to help you? Now, that is already action. But if you just simply using an empirical judgment, and you can stand in a distance and say, that man or that woman seems like he or she needs some words of encouragement, or good, maybe just a tap on the shoulder saying, are you okay? Is there anything I can do? But all of this can happen in the thought, just in the thought. You just empirically thinking about it, but never put into action.
It's almost as if, Dr. Laing,
yeah,
it's almost as if when someone isn't well and they're in pain, and all we'll say is, or give us a passing remark, okay, don't worry, I'll pray for you, and then we walk away, rather than saying, you're in pain, where do you feel the pain, how long have you had the pain? Do you know what I mean? And that's where you can go into the encouragement side of things and the hands-on, rather than just saying, oh, I'm sorry to hear, I'll pray for you.
That's right. That's right. So it goes back again to the idea, like what Jesus had taught us as Christians, right? That you act out your encouragement. You turn your encouragement should not stay as an adjective. Your encouragement should go into verbs, action words. Is that making sense? Let me give you an example here. I'm going to take you to a Bible verse. One of the most powerful normative judgment-based encouragement is the word of Jesus Christ. So if you go to John 16, verse 32, John 16, verse 32, Jesus said, behold, the hour cometh, yea, is now come, that ye shall be scattered, every man to his own, and shall leave me alone, and yet I am not alone, because the Father is with me. These things I have spoken unto you, that in me ye might have peace. In the world ye shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer, I have overcome the world. Mark the word, be of good cheer. That's encouragement. Then, so here Christ provided encouragement to survive a crisis that he predicted would occur based on the principle of normative judgment. So there is a certain prescription that he provided. Be of good cheer. The problem is coming, crisis is coming, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. So notice the word overcome. Is that a theory, or is that at the level of theory, or is that practical? I have overcome. I want communication.
That's definitely practical.
Practical.
Definitely.
That's right. That's right. So we need to be practical when it comes to encouraging and others. Moving on. So as I mentioned earlier, what motivates a Christian to encourage others, especially practical, in a practical way, is it's because of the understanding that it's a moral issue. It's a moral thing for us to encourage others for good reason. And although motivating force may be a distinguishing feature of normative judgment, the phenomenon of normative motivation seems most significant in the case of narrowly moral judgments. Moral encouragement or motivation has in any case received far greater attention than motivation in connection with other normative judgments. Now, the question is,
Can I give an example?
Go ahead.
Just a practical example, an everyday example. Okay, so I catch the bus to work in the mornings,
Right.
and it can be very busy at times, but I have to get off the bus quickly so I can catch my connecting bus. And
Right.
if I am just thinking about myself, I will, get up and just move direct. I know my aim is to get off the bus quickly so I can run and catch my next one or move quickly. But then that's just thinking about myself. Whereas if I stand back and let somebody else go who's waiting, clearly they're waiting, they want to get off as well, let them get off before me. But I may be more inclined to do that, just practically, I'm saying, if somebody did that to me. So if somebody let me go first, and then I'm getting off the bus and I can see there's a queue of people, then if I don't let the next person go first, I'll look really bad because somebody let me go first. And I'm just trying to, and I'm not letting anybody else go by. And I'm not necessarily doing it to save face, but it's like I'm more encouraged to let somebody else go first and get that blessing because somebody's done that to me.
I like that. That is really a practical one, and that is in the same pulse of the same rhythm of pulse of this in this presentation, and so you see, when I was thinking about this, how should I present this word of encouragement? Because there are a lot of discouraged people out there, as I have mentioned earlier. And it should be like the way how you described. It should be very practical. And my question earlier was, does encouraging mean giving words of encouragement based on intrinsic taste or intrinsic truth? You know what that means? You know what a different what's the difference between intrinsic taste or intrinsic truth? We're
No,
talking about, yeah,
you
go on.
explain?
Okay, so you know what the word intrinsic is, right? Intrinsic means something from within, right? So do we go by the taste? What that means is that I don't, taste is a code word to say feelings or sensation, right? So you talk about you being on the bus, right? And let's say bus is so packed, right? And you found a seat and it was just there. Well, I mean, you consider yourself lucky to see there's empty seat there, right? And so it is within your taste to sit comfortably. Then one bus station later comes a woman who is pregnant, right? And the woman was like, she looks tired. Perhaps she has she has a handbag, a large one, slung on her shoulder, hanging on the shoulder, and she was kind of looking around if there's any more seat there. Now, as Christian, now we're talking about as Christian here now. If as Christian, you are into encouraging these people in the practical way, right? Not just word. It's not like, ma'am, oh, you're on the bus. Okay. You stand there, okay? Just you're okay there, right? No. You know that the pregnant woman is heavier, and you want to be more than just words. So you want to fulfill that need. So, but what moves you to stand up? Because based on an intrinsic taste or feeling, you rather sit down. But there is an intrinsic truth within. Truth here is a code to say principle. And what principle? What truth? The truth is based on the Spirit of Christ, meaning the teaching of Christ, the doctrines of Christ, like love one another, like even love your enemies. Okay, this woman is not this pregnant woman is not the enemy, but yet there is this principle, there's this intrinsic truth of loving your brethren, your sister, in a practical way. So far, is that understandable?
Yeah. So you're saying that we have the moral, intrinsic moral thing of desire to help because we know morally it's right.
That's right.
But also we have what's the other one?
The other one is based on taste, intrinsic taste, feeling, or emotion.
So you I think the two kind of merge there, because if your emotion is to just sit down because it's, you're tired as well, equally tired, maybe, but then you have an intrinsic desire to help another person. It's a human thing to do.
Right.
And that kind of ties in
will-
with the moral side.
Yeah, so what motivates you to stand up? If you love to sit down, what motivates you to stand up? The intrinsic feeling or the intrinsic truth? What motivates you to stand up? It is the intrinsic truth.
Okay, somebody else can answer as well.
Yeah, okay, I'm waiting.
Thank you.
How about the
Yeah.
rest?
Because you're saying the feeling makes you want to sit down, but the truth is, hey, you know what? Somebody needs this better than you, more than
Right.
you.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So remember, we are talking about active encouragement. Okay, so then you say within yourself, no, I have an intrinsic truth to want to encourage this woman whose knees are already shaking because she's tired and perhaps baby in her womb is so heavy. All right, you stand up and said, sister, would you like to take a seat? Would you like to take a seat? Can you imagine how the expression on her face would be? Would it be
Relief.
would it be a furrowing of the brows, or would it be like the stretching of the forehead with a big wide smile on her face? You know,
Definitely the latter. But
that's right.
but if you think about it even more as an individual, you think, okay, now this lady's sat down and I'm stood up. I
Right.
also get a good feeling because I know that I'm exercising, and when I'm sitting down for a long time, I can't work on my balance. But by standing up, I'm actually benefiting physically because I'm having the opportunity to exercise and work on my balance or something. You know, there is going to be some positive aspects as well as the emotional benefit.
That's right. And this is what I'm going to emphasize later. I'm going to emphasize that what does encouraging by the encourager experience? Will there be benefits also by encouraging others? Or is it only the receiver of the encouragement that will be benefited? Or we'll talk about that later. No? So from a Christian perspective, I believe that the act of giving words or acts of encouragement is based on intrinsic tendencies embedded in our DNA by the Creator. Now, I've been thinking about this. And what was the thought about? I was thinking about what is it that would motivate me as a person to want to even encourage verbally or in action. So I found out that it is a intrinsic tendencies embedded in our DNA by the Creator. What does that mean? See, metaethically, the act of giving words of encouragement or actions of encouragement is of divine origin. In the book of Romans 2, we have this reference. Romans chapter 2, verse 13. For not the hearers of the law are before God, but the doers of the law shall be justified. Verse 14. For when the Gentiles which have not the law do by nature the things contained in the law, these having not the law are a law unto themselves. 15. Which shows the work of the law written in their hearts, their conscience also bearing witness. The concept is that God has written the law of morality in the hearts of humanity. Thus, the origin of meta-ethic. So the moral law written in our hearts becomes the basis for a universal moral judgment, which will help you to stand up from your comfortable seat and willing to give up to a woman or to any person whom you deem to be in more need than yourself. Question, everyone. What is the power of the law? Because we are saying, hey, the law is dangerous because it can make you pharisaical. It can make you judgmental and critical. Is that true? I want interaction. And if that law is written upon my heart, then and you are saying that that is the motivation of my encouragement. How can that be? Because that sounds scary. I might become judgmental. Is that true?
Okay, I would say it's possible, but it's how you interpret it. So are you focusing on, are you there, Brother Melbourne? Yeah. Are you focusing on the law to look good, or are you focusing on the law to help others? So, you know, you can look at it from a Pharisaical perspective, you know, like the Pharisees would have done, to try and look good because they didn't want to look bad.
Is that the problem of the law, or is it the problem of the Pharisee, the person?
And it's definitely not the law that is the issue. That's why I said it's based on how you interpret it.
Is the power of is the action of the law based on interpretation? Okay, now if you have a Bible there, Sharon, could you please turn your Bibles to Romans chapter 13? I would appreciate it if you could read Romans chapter 13 and verses 8 through 10. Please. Are you there?
Yes, sorry, I was just getting a Bible. Romans 13, 8 to 10.
Yes, Romans chapter 13, 8 through 10.
Okay, so that says, I'm not sure what version I'm reading from. I just took one of the children's Bibles.
No worries.
It says here, let no debt remain outstanding except the continuing debt to love one another. For whoever loves others has fulfilled the law. The commandments, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not murder, you shall not steal, you shall not covet, and whatever other commands there may be are summed up in this one command: love your neighbor as yourself. Love does no harm to a neighbor, therefore love is the fulfillment of the law.
So what is the power? What is the power, the force rather? What is the force that God had installed, the intrinsic force that God have installed within his law?
Has to be love.
Exactly right. So if that law with this type of quality is written upon our heart, what would be the motivating force that would encourage, that would motivate us to do the encouraging? What would be the force that would motivate us to encourage others in words or in action?
Again, that's going to be love.
There's going to be love, right?
So, yeah, can I just, the title of that little bit that I just read is says love fulfills the law.
Right. Is there any other way for the law to be fulfilled other than love according to these Bible verses?
No, because then you're not fulfilling the law, you're doing something else.
Exactly right. So God's prescription, according to the blueprint, is that the force of his law is love, because he meaning God, who is the giver of the law, is himself love. God is love. So if such law is written upon our hearts, and who writes the law of God upon our hearts?
God does himself when he made us.
The Spirit of God, the Bible says, right? It is the Spirit of God that writes the law upon our hearts. That is found in 2 Corinthians chapter 3 and verses 3 to 4. 2 Corinthians chapter 3 verses 3 to 4. So you can read that reference later. So the moral law written in our heart becomes the basis for a universal moral judgment. The force enables us to have the tendency to encourage others because it's good for us. Because that's what morality is. It's a knowledge of good and bad. So when we see a woman standing there beside you, heavy in pregnancy, and you want to allow her to take your place, and that you're willing to give up your comfort, that is because this intrinsic truth that is written upon your heart was the power behind those decisions. Is that making sense?
Sure.
Now, after all, the Bible says that the law which was written on the heart is holy, just, and good. That's a tendency God has installed in the law. But then, as you have mentioned earlier, it depends on your interpretation. Well, that is if we are going on the subjective tangent, if you go towards that direction, yeah, there is such a possibility. The question is, why did the Pharisee express themselves the way they did, despite them being the custodian of God's law? They crucified Jesus. Not only that, they persecuted the disciples of Christ after Christ's ascension to heaven. The Pharisees are the custodians of God's law, right? What's going on there? What's the problem there? Okay, let's look at this. So what about those who have no desire to encourage good in the world, like those Pharisees? They rather take it as their duty to discourage, to tear apart, and to kill the spirit of goodness of their neighbors. Does it seem that they do not have the moral law engraved on their hearts? That's a question to all. I want interaction. Does it seem that they do not have the moral law engraved on their hearts? What say you?
There was actually a question in the chat on that, and
What did he say?
it was saying, is this universal moral law wanting to help others applicable to all, whether people acknowledge God or not? And then there was a response, and then it says, what if you're just going through the motions? Are you fulfilling the law?
The question is, are we going just to the motion? If you are energized, or if you are motivated by the love which God had put within as a spirit of the law, are you just putting into motion?
No, not if you're motivated by love. You're moved to do something.
That's right. It's a powerful force of good. Now let's talk a little bit now. Look, these people who have rather more like psychopathic, right? These people who do not like to encourage others. They kill the spirit of goodness of their neighbors. And the question was, does it seem that they do not have the moral law engraved on their heart? Initially, God created us in his image. Is that wrong? That's according to the Bible, okay? God created us in his image. Humans were created with the spirit, a mind, which is essentially metaphysical, and a physical body. So the three components, the spirit, mind, and the physical body. Satan, the force of evil, has corrupted our system with sin, which has made us carnal. Carnality is a state of having the spirit of man corrupted by the force of malevolence, originating from Satan. Internal conflict is the result of spiritual corruption. The Apostle Paul expresses the inner battle this way. For the flesh lusted against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh, and these are contrary the one to the other, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would. Let no sin therefore reign in your mortal body, that ye should obey it in the lust thereof. Neither yield ye your members as instruments of unrighteousness unto sin, but yield yourselves unto God as though those that are alive from the dead, and your members as instruments of righteousness unto God. Now, all of those words I've just said are extract from Galatians chapter 5, verse 17, Romans chapter 6, verses 12 and 13. So let me extract the in points form now. So there is within us these two principles. There is the lust of the flesh, and there is the spirit. And in the Greek, the word flesh here, the word flesh here is sarx, which means a fallen nature, right? The flesh of a man of a fallen nature, with fallen nature. So the spirit here is referring to the influence of the Holy Spirit of God. And these two, based on Galatians 5 verse 17, they are against each other. They're contrary one to the other. Now, why am I reading all these things? I am explaining how is it that those people, like the Pharisees or those psychopaths, that they have no desire, no inclination to encourage others, but rather to tear them down. Does that mean that they do not have the law of God written upon their heart? Let's continue on with our deduction here. So we saw that there is this war, the controversy within us, the spirit and the flesh. And then in Romans chapter 6, verses 12 and 13, Paul clearly said, do not allow this sin to reign in your mortal body. Another word, it is not something that like this force, it is not that it cannot be decided on. We can decide for or against it. Otherwise, Paul would not have said it this way, let not sin therefore reign in your mortal body. So that flesh of the fallen nature can be decided on, meaning that we can say, no, I'm not going to allow this to reign me or rule me or dominate me. And notice in Romans chapter 6 and verse 13, Paul said, neither yield ye your members as instrument of unrighteousness unto sin, but yield yourselves unto God. What's the point? We can choose upon it. You can choose what to act. The Pharisee actually have a choice. The influence, the intrinsic influence which comes as a result of God writing the law of his law upon our heart is there still. We know right from wrong. Question to all: the robbers and the thieves, the murderers, is it true that they do not know right from wrong? One interaction.
They were taught right from wrong, and they should know right from wrong. I would have thought they would know right from wrong.
Right.
But there was some comments in the chat talking about individuals' motives, and sometimes people do things for personal gain.
Have you heard of the stories of those mafias who would kill their enemies at the drop of a hat? At a blink, they would kill someone, but to their own, I mean, these are some wicked people that would even take the bodies of their so-called enemies and they would melt them in the chemical, with chemicals, right? But they still know how to love their children. They still know how to protect their own.
That sounds like a two-tier love.
Yeah. So in other words, within a person, even though the person has no exposure to religion per se, they still know how to love, they still know how to care for their own, their children, and they would actually protect their own. Why? So there is still this intrinsic tendency within them that it is good to protect the children. It is good to feed the children. It is good to feed their women. You understand that? It's still in there. But what is that? And this is where the philosophers are actually dumbfounded. They do not know how to explain that. Scientists, they do not know how to explain that. And I've actually heard an apologist, okay, an atheist apologist for the atheists, an apologist for Christian apology. They were discussing about this. And I heard that these the scientist who was an atheist saying, we absorb it somehow from the atmosphere, from our culture, and so on. So there is no foundation to how they explain it. But the Bible is clearer. God, who had initially created us in his image, had also written the law upon our hearts. So that tendency that there is this intrinsic truth which motivates us to be kind and to encourage, to motivate others for to do good or to improve. Let me move on. Those who do not appear to care about encouraging good are in reality displaying the power they by choice have allowed to dominate them. So if a person sees a woman or a man or whatever it is, I mean, so long as they're a human being, let's say a man, very rich, dressed very well, walking on the street, seeing a beggar down there, and the beggar is literally crying and saying, "Please, sir, I haven't eaten for 3 days," right? please, could you please spare me a quid, a pound, an euro? And so this man, buffing his nails, saying, no, you better go and find a job, man. I won't give you money like that because, you might use it for drinking alcohol. That is not encouraging at all. Now, did the person who had said that say it without any type of a, how do you say, struggle in his mind, that there is no decision he has to make against one thing and for another thing in his mind? I remember when before I gave my life to Jesus completely, I was on the street along with my gangs. And this took place some years back, at least 30 years ago. And we were walking in this a certain place. It's called the Central Park. And right there on this park, we have several people who are begging for food or money. Some would perform some sort of a talent, singing or dancing or drawing something. But there are some people who are simply not doing anything. I mean, because they are perhaps, it seems like they have all of their limbs, arms, legs, fingers. They seems to be okay, right? And they're laying there on the floor. And I vividly remember one man there, and he was writhing like that, as if he was in pain. And so a friend of mine say, hey, look at that. He might have used some sort of a drugs or something. And my friend said it very loud, and the man looked, and his mouth was all foaming, and he looked towards my friend like this, and he put out his hand like so, begging, and he said with a faint voice, I have not eaten. I have this terrible gastritis. Please help. Give me some food. I've been begging and no one is giving me food. You don't give me money, just give me food. That's what the man said. And so, we a group of youngsters here, you're saying, no, do you believe that? We were debating among ourselves. And I remember saying to the other guys, let's leave now. But in my mind, I had this faint thought saying, that could be your father. Your father could be like this, or your relatives. You never know. So I was battling against that. I was really battling against that thought. So we kept on walking, and once we got to the place that there was a shopping center, we got there, and my mind was still bothered. And in the end, I said to my friends, okay, wait over here. I'll go and use the toilet. That was actually a lie. I actually did not go to the toilet. I went to some food stall, spent some ringgit, because this was in Malaysia, right? So some ringgit. Then I ran back to this man, and the man was still there, and I found him crying, and he kept on saying, why? Then if you are not going to feed me, God, he was saying it in Malay. If you're not going to feed me, then let me just die. And his mouth was foaming. And so I got me water and some food, and I said, "Hey, here's something for you." And the man looked, and he said, "Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you," you know. And that really had touched me. Then when I was how to say that now, reminiscing on this incident while I was preparing for this presentation, I said to myself, what motivated me when I was speaking against the idea of helping this man? Was it without struggle? Did I have to make it? Did I have to make it? How to say? Did I have to make that decision without a contention in my mind? What kind of decision? The decision not to feed that man at that moment when my friends were there. No, there was this thought in me, and there was this. It's not. I did not hear any voices. No, there was this strong tendency in me saying, or rather, it's not saying, but it's like the sense that this is not right what I'm doing. Where did that come from? It comes from that power that God has installed within us, which is His law. Now, so for a moment, I allowed my how do you say that, my sinful nature. I allowed my corrupt and degenerated flesh, carnality, to dominate me. It was a struggle, really. But then when I returned back to this man, that was an active encouragement for this man. So meta-ethicals is the attempt to understand the metaphysical, the epistemological, semantic, and psychological presupposition and commitments of moral thought, talks, and practice. In the marketplace of ideas, there are several opinions attempting to present a coherent explanation about the reasons humans have the tendency to give encouragement or motivation towards optimism and altruism. The Bible gives the best, the soundest, and most complete, harmonious explanation covering all points in the meta-narrative in regard to us human. So far, is there any question? Is there any comment?
There is a powerful question. Colin, could you are you able to unmute and share that question? There's one in the chat. Okay, for the sake of time, I'll ask the question on his behalf. Okay,
Yeah.
So we have one here. If in a time of financial crisis, such as this that we're in, a single mother steals a loaf of bread from a supermarket to feed her 3 hungry children, she has no other income, or she has no income. Well, she's got no other income than, she can't afford it, basically. She can't afford the bread. And she has reached the end of her tether. Her family are hungry and cold. She stole the bread because of love. I can accept what she did was legally wrong, but was it morally wrong? How would you judge her? As an earthly judge and as a heavenly judge. So A, as an earthly judge, would you judge her as what she was doing was wrong morally? And as a heavenly judge, would you say what she did was wrong morally? And then it says, is the moral law changeable according to a person's situation?
Wow. Let me answer this way, and let me try to be candid here. Remember when Jesus was confronted with the situation of several men dragging a woman caught in red-handedly in adultery, and Jesus is the embodiment of the law, of the divine law, the Ten Commandments. And when the Pharisee says, the law of Moses says, we should stone this woman, and Jesus started writing on the floor, and the Bible says that what he had written on the floor was actually all the sins those accusers had done. And so when Jesus later on was asked again, hey, Master, what do you say? And Jesus said, he that is without sin may cast the first stone. So what is the point now? By saying that, if that question, the questioner who had asked the question is asking me, and that I'm supposed to be I'm supposed to judge someone, that woman that has stolen something to feed her kids. If I am to emulate Christ, there will be mercy. That is why there have a Bible verse in the book of Psalms. It says, mercy and truth, what? Whatever. Kiss each other, right? And so in the person of Christ, these mercy and truth is how we should embody altruism, how we should embody the real spirit of encouragement based on love and based on morality. And that law of morality can only be fulfilled with love, or with love. That's what the Bible says. But yet, the law cannot have mercy. It is the person, Christ, that can exercise mercy. So how does that apply to this question? So, because I have love, and the foundation of mercy is love. Am I wrong to say that? The foundation of mercy is love. Am I wrong? I want interaction.
Anybody
Hello?
else is free to answer.
Am I wrong to say that the foundation of mercy is love?
Definitely not.
Definitely not. That's right. So, mercy, I who have the law of God written upon my heart, and also at the same time have committed myself to God by faith, will certainly have mercy. And to have mercy is an act of judgment. If there's no judgment, there's no mercy. And if there is no love, there is no mercy, and there is no judgment. Because where there is no judgment, where there is no love, there is no need for judging. Especially if someone has committed wrong, like this woman who has stolen the bread. So what does that mean now? Should I condemn the woman? I would emulate Christ. I would say, neither do I condemn thee, but go and steal no more. Then here comes the encouragement. Where do you live? I'm going to give you some help. I'm going to give you bread. I'm going to give you the stove or the flour that you can use to bake bread, or rather, to make the loaf of bread, and then you can bake it. This is where the practical encouragement comes in. Is that confusing what I've said?
I'm not sure if Colin's able to unmute and respond.
Yes, I've just been able to unmute because I was offline for a while. Thank you, Dr. Melbourne, for your response. But following up your very last comment just then, I was about to type in, wouldn't that therefore now make Lidl's, as the example, in a difficult economic position, because now you're giving away all their flour and bread?
Now that is already going into another aspects we call economy. Now, that would be so. There are precautions that can be taken, and these, I would say, is another level of encouragement. So you can give some good counsel to these people on how to prevent people from stealing, right? And so we encourage the people. We encourage this business institutions or the shops. But going back to the topic about encouragement, the focus is on the woman who is of course in dire need to feed the children. And it is another level of encouragement, perhaps, that we can also apply within the context of our presentation today to those shopkeepers. And since that is not really my focus, to actually put the words together to give to say what to say and how to say to the shopkeepers, I will not venture into that right now. But obviously, both parties needed both parties need encouragement, wise encouragement. And what motivates us to do that? Again, it is that law written upon our hearts. I'm speaking strictly within the context of us being a Christian and a Bible believing Christian for that matter. I have Colin raising his hand. What did he say? Maybe you can unmute him.
I'm unmuted again.
Yes.
Dr. Melbourne, still sticking with the subject.
Yeah.
Your backdrop there. We focused on the man who fell off the cliff.
Yeah.
And then there's these other three people trying to help them up.
Right.
What is that person on the far left doing?
Repeat the last few words.
What is the person on the far left doing?
Just standing, you mean?
Is he just standing? Is he advising? Is he giving an overview? Is he analyzing? Is he saying go so far but don't go any further than that? Is he giving them an assessment of the situation? Will he be providing feedback after them as to how they could do it better?
Wow.
Or is he just standing there, as you say, doing nothing?
Wow. It seems like you are you are expressing the addressing the elephant in the room. But it is open for interpretation, isn't it? It's
Well,
open.
that's the thing about morals and moral actions.
Yeah.
Because we have talked about motivation. To what extent is it open to interpretation? Or by what standards? And I accept the ultimate standard is that of love, and God will determine that. But what motivates you to be doing whatever you do is a key question in all of this.
This was actually the main reason why I mentioned about the foundation of our judgment, and the soundest form of a foundation for any moral decisions within us human being is the law of God. Because moral law is where we know where we would define right or wrong, good or evil. And when the Bible says that God have written the law, his law upon our hearts, and that the law is soundly founded based on his love, because love is the only way we can fulfill the law. Therefore, this is the intrinsic truth which motivates us to encourage people who are in need. And so once we have a solid foundation of such, the law of God written upon our heart, it actually transcends personal interpretation, because we are going by the engine of us wanting to do that which is correct and what is right. And what is beneficial for others, lifting others up, and helping them to not just feel better emotionally, but they can actually feel or sense some practical help from you and me. And as a medical missionary, this is where I found the ideas that I have expressed so far in a most practical way as a medical missionary. Jesus was going around doing good. Why? Because it's a moral action. And why is it a moral action? Because there is a law that has been written in his heart. And the power, the energy, the force of the law originally was put in there by God of love, and that energy is love, the character of God, the transcript of his character. Okay, now let's move on to the next part. And this time I would like to address this one here. This time, let's go past the first part right there. We're going to go to the second one, the benefits of being an encourager. I would like to address this.
Sorry,
hold on,
Doctor.
let me finish first. The benefits of being an encourager. All right, and I would like to focus on the neuroscience of the benefits of the encourager, and I would also address the neuroscience on the basis of in the context of those that are discouraged and depressed and despondent. Okay, good. Let me take a question or your comment.
Yeah, sorry. I was just encouraging you as well, because I think we've got a lot of material to cover, and
Yeah, okay.
I'm conscious of the time.
Right.
So my encouragement for you, before you finish this next point, is
Right.
is it possible for you to factor in a part 2 or possibly even a part 3 on TTI so we can complete the presentation?
Sure. How much time do I have?
We've actually gone over.
Oh, we have gone over.
it has been so good that we kind of lost ourselves in the time. So I was
Okay,
definitely trying to encourage part two.
all right, all
to,
right.
to
Okay,
complete this presentation, but it
okay.
may even need a part three.
Yeah, that's possible. It's possible. But right now, let's look at point number 2, and I may spend some minutes on this. All right, and then I will end. And if you are not against the idea of having part 2, part 3, I am more than willing and happy to share.
Sure.
Okay, so the benefits of being an encourager. You know what the benefits are? Okay, let's from the metaphysical standpoint. Okay, person will feel good when he encourages others, right? What is really happening in the mind? What is what? No, I did not say it correctly. What is happening in the brain of the person that who is encouraging others? What do you think? Okay, when someone decides to encourage someone else, one of the phenomenon that's happening in the brain is the release of dopamine. The brain will release dopamine, and dopamine is a very powerful neurotransmitter, because it is not only benefiting the feeling, it's not only benefiting the person in the form of happiness or feeling encourage himself. That word encourage is actually a key word to trigger production of dopamine in the brain. And this is what I'd like probably go into greater detail in the future. What dopamine does to the person. Okay, usually there will be a feeling of happiness, but it's more than that. There is this how do you say, the
Hierarchy.
Beg your pardon?
Hierarchy.
Not the hierarchy. There is a domino effect.
Domino effect. Okay, yeah, I was just
Yeah,
basing it on your actions.
Right. Yeah. So there is this domino effect. Once we step up and say and approach someone saying, "Hey, you know, I want to encourage you," you know, that action would produce the dopaminergic how do you say that now, excretion, dopaminergic production in the brain, which is affecting your digestion, which is affecting your immune system, which is affecting your metabolism, which is affecting your respiratory and melatonin production in a very positive way. So it is really a huge benefit by being an encourager. Huge benefit. But I thought, yeah.
No, I was just going to say I did actually put in the chat, but I'm remembering there's some on YouTube that can't see the chat. I had put on there that the benefits of being an encourager is good blood, and I'd put, before you started talking about it, happy hormones. So yeah, so it's not just going to affect one organ; it's going around the blood.
Yeah, that's right. The blood also is improved, and probably in the next thing, in the next presentation, I can show you the how do you say it, the graphics of how exactly dopamine is being produced in the mind, or in the brain rather, of an encourager. And from the side of the person that is being encouraged, the recipient of the encouragement, there will also be production of two things. Can you guess what they are? Where's Colin?
You mean which other hormones?
Yeah. Which do you know what do other neurotransmitters or hormones is being triggered in the brain of the recipient of the encouragement? Anyone would like to share?
And the recipient, it's not gonna be adrenaline.
Isn't it the same?
Repeat.
Is it not going to be the same?
What do you mean the same?
Dopamine. So
Okay,
the encourager. So the encourager,
yeah,
the one who's doing the good deed will have dopamine released, but also the recipient should have the same reaction.
Okay, but I said there are two for the recipient. There are two. You guessed you got the first one, dopamine. Yes. What's the second one?
Okay. Now then, I'm not sure. I was thinking serotonin.
No.
I'm only thinking you're loving your neighbor as yourself.
Okay, serotonin is not the primary, or I'm referring to the second one. It's not. It is somehow affected by the presence of dopamine, but there is one main hormone that is being triggered in the brain of the recipient, other than dopamine. The dopamine is the base, and then the next one comes. What would that be?
Did you say serotonin?
No, I already said that that's not the main one.
The epinephrine?
No, not epinephrine.
Someone says endorphin.
Endorphin, not quite. It is affected, but that's not the main one that is being produced at the same time as the dopamine is being produced in the mind or in the brain of the recipient. Okay, should I say it?
I'm gonna kick myself if you say adrenaline, because I was saying no, it can't be adrenaline. I'm gonna kick myself if you say adrenaline, because I was saying it can't be adrenaline.
No. That adrenaline is usually produced in tandem with cortisol. So it's not adrenaline. Adrenaline is usually is triggered by stressful conditions.
Give us another clue.
Sonia says GABA.
Huh? GABA? GABA is not directly affected. Yeah, that's right. It's not directly affected, but it is somehow in the background. It is, whatever is happening in the brain, it is interconnected with the other network. But these two are the main one. Dopamine, yes. And
it's oxytocin.
Yes,
from Sonia.
Exactly right. Yes.
Well done, Sonia.
Yes, Sonia, that's right. So we have the oxytocin and the dopamine being produced in the brain of the recipient. Okay, so this is a basic neuroscience of neuroscience, the effect, the neuroscience about the effect of encouragement to people. So the encourager has the explosion, for the lack of a better word, there's this surge of huge production of dopamine, and the recipient will have dopamine also and oxytocin. Both will benefit both, meaning that dopamine and oxytocin will bring a lot of benefits in the life of the receiver, but so is with the encourager. Okay, is there any other question? I'll stop right here maybe, and then I'll pick it up next time.
Okay, so that question, thank you so much, Dr. Melbourne. That has really been inspiring thought, because some people have been very quiet when you've asked for their comments. So I think people have been thinking deeply. But here is an opportunity for you to open your mics. Our audience, if anybody wants to ask a question, feel free. You can either put up your hand and we'll take it in order of hand, or if no hands are going up, just open your mic and speak.
Right.
And those of you who are on YouTube, I'm looking on YouTube to see if there are any questions in the comments there as well.
I can stop sharing now, okay? So we can see each other face to face. Is that all right?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, right here. Okay. I don't hear you. Hold a moment. Let me try to.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I wasn't muted. I was muted.
Okay.
I was saying I can't find any chats in the comments on YouTube. Any comments in the chat, but
Yeah.
I'm just looking on here because there are quite a few comments. So it's just trying to find which ones are questions.
Yeah.
Okay. Just browsing through here. I think we kind of asked as we went along, but does anybody have any particular question? Feel free.
Well, give an example of the question that is there. Just read it, so that it should trigger some sort of an idea of how the other people would formulate their question.
Okay, one person said, with regards to the lady who is struggling for finances to feed her children, one response was she could also be encouraged, on the theme of encouragement, to refer to a charity company for food supply or food banks. That's quite popular over here in the UK currently. Even people who are employed but not getting enough money, they're heading to food banks. So
I like that.
That was one comment.
So that's one example of being for being practical. I like that.
So it's not just the one meal that the person's being fed for, but they can go there to
Right.
help feed the family more than once.
I've alluded to that earlier. I said, okay, but you can bring flour. Where do you live? You know, okay, do you have a stove? This type of thing. No? Anything else?
I put a comment in the chat earlier. And this was in relation to a previous comment. Somebody said, I'm reminded of my favorite quote from the book Ministry of Healing. Christ's method alone will give true success in reaching the people. The Savior mingled with people as one who desired their good. He showed sympathy for them, ministered to their needs, and won their confidence. Then he invited them, follow me. And it says, in principle, meet people, see the best in them, have compassion for them, do something for them, and in so doing, you will win their trust. In capital letters, then, but only then, according to the order of events, you can tell them about Jesus. We often do things the other way around. And my response was, sometimes the desire to help people make it to the kingdom can overrule the desire to help them in this world, and we become zealous for their salvation at the expense of their emotional, physical, and social well-being now.
I like that. There was a person here, Cher, I think it was. Cher raised her hand. She wrote down the food cycle, she says.
Okay, Cher, if you wish to ask or make a comment, it doesn't have to be a question. If you wish to make a comment or ask a question, or clarify a point, please unmute and let us hear what you've got to say. And while Cher's thinking about that, we have a couple of comments. Thank you, Dr. Laing, and looking forward to seeing you in August, God willing. That's one of our co-ministers.
Okay.
And we also have Sonia saying, thank you, Dr. Laing, for this presentation and looking forward to part 2. God bless you.
Okay.
We have to set up some dates.
All right.
Cher, are you available to unmute?
Yes, I don't know if can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Cher.
Make a comment. It doesn't have to be a question. Make a comment or ask a question, or clarify a point, and let us hear what you've got to say.
Cher is talking,
While
but I
Claire's
couldn't
thinking
hear
about
her.
that, we have a couple of comments. Thank you, Dr. Laing, and looking forward to seeing you in August. I think Cher might have it on YouTube as well in the background, so the YouTube is catching up. And we also have Sonia saying, thank you, Dr. Laing, for the presentation, and looking forward to part 2. God bless you. We have to set up some dates.
All right.
Cher, are you available to unmute?
Sharon, Cher placed her it's in the chat.
Can you read it, please, Charlene?
It says, Cher says, invite people to Food Cycle. It will assist them to share a free meal.
Yeah, have you done that, Sharon? Have you done, setting up a food booth, or how do you say it? What would you say? Food stand on the street for the homeless, or someone at the church? Have you done that?
I don't know if you can hear me now. I had to come out of this thing because it wasn't working. You couldn't hear me, so Food Cycle is a voluntary thing where the supermarkets give free food away, volunteers prepare the meals, and then invite people for a free 3-course meal. And
Wow.
I've volunteered there. It's a wonderful thing. I actually did it on a Sabbath after church. Went along, and you sit with people and you can begin to dialogue with people. And one of the other church sisters, she's an ex-nurse but does lots of talks at the local library, invites people to come along to talk about issues.
Cher, you just muted. We got as far as he invites people to talk about local issues, and then you muted. I'm not sure if you.
Yeah, while she's still there, I appreciate what Cher had mentioned right there. that's what it means to be practical in the way how we encourage. Because you see, many times when you watch videos about encouraging, about the topic of giving encouragement to other people, usually it is very much focusing on how do you say that now, on the spirit of how you say things, the vocabulary, and the tone, this type of thing. And there are a lot of them, a lot of videos that are available on the YouTube about that. So I was thinking, now let me focus on what the Bible says, or the spirit of prophecy. And all of the concept, or all of the ideas revolving around encouraging or encouragement in the Bible, spirit prophecies, they are all connected to practicality. Yeah, and for example, if you have a Ellen G. White database and you type in, first of all, you go to the book side and you click on Mind, Character, and Personality, Volume 1 and 2, and then you go on the search engine, then you type in encouraging, that word encouraging. There are some very practical counsels on how to express express yourself in how to say that now, in your effort to encourage people. Very practical, and the result is also practical. Like, for example, she mentions about when a wife is encouraging to the husband, when the husband is encouraging in the way how he behaves, the way how he expresses himself to the wives. The spirit of prophecy says that we can actually, the husband's encouraging behavior can actually prevent diseases. That's practical.
That is so good. I couldn't agree with you even. I couldn't agree with you anymore. And in fact, at the beginning of your presentation, there was a comment in the chat coming from eSword. An individual, Colin again, said, I understand that the word encouragement comes from the French, or the word encourage comes from the French words en and courage, which means to put into or strengthen, and courage, the heart. So in short, encouragement strengthens the heart, according to the original French. So you're strengthening the heart of the person who you're encouraging, and as the encourager, you're strengthening your heart. And then when you was talking about the practicalities, I mean, again, it's just, I can't shout that loud enough. I mean, last night was yesterday was really, really cold. And I'm involved in a feeding project. We go out every Friday evening, and there's like a rota. And last night I was thinking, oh, it's so cold, I don't want to go anywhere, I don't want to go. But then I had to think, well, look, there's people that are living on the streets. When I came home, I was passing them on the bus, and they're there in their sleeping bags, and they're there in the doorways. I'm thinking, yeah, but it's cold, I don't want to go. But God blesses every time we go, whether it's raining, and then we get to the church where we've got all the stuff, and then we load up the trolleys and we go out, we hit the streets, and the rain stops. It stops every time. There's miracles. If you've never done this before, trust me, it's such an opportunity to experience miracles. And last night there was one guy out there, and it was a similar situation, because somebody was explaining to him, and when they gave him the money, they said, look, don't be spending this on drugs. And he said, no, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying I want any more. What I'm saying is I'm explaining my situation to you. And it actually was his birthday, so we sang happy birthday to him. And he was really grateful for what he was given. It wasn't just food, it was clothes, it was, things that he needed to get through the night. And somebody gave him money. Another person, he was busking, and he said, oh, I haven't had much this evening. So we stopped and gave him something hot to drink. And whilst we did that, another person gave him £10 and he was like, but he was so happy. So we just celebrated with him. So there's so many blessings that we get when we go out, and I didn't feel cold. Well, my hands did initially, but then I took some of the hand warmers that we were giving to the people and put them in my gloves too. And my hands felt fine. And we carried on, and we just, just enjoyed that Sabbath evening, Friday evening Sabbath activity.
So the sum up of the thoughts which you have just expressed was nothing short of the practical expression of encouraging. You were encouraging the people in the most practical way. The food that you hand out and all of the little trinkets full of blessings that you hand out, that's the, how do you say, you don't need to say any word, you just act it out. You're acting out encouragement, you know what I'm saying? That's what it is. Now, let me share with you some thoughts here when it comes to doing medical missionary work. You see, medical missionary work is the most exalted, honorable, glorious work God himself had originated. He started this work. And I saw earlier there was Lucille also had signed in, and Lucille understands that very well. And I think you too, Sharon, you have done this as well, the medical missionary work. There was, tell you a story about a young lady, 23 years old, and she has this rare condition. And before she came, the mother and the older sister came first, and they were not Adventists, by the way. They were evangelical, and they have heard about us from someone, and so through that referrals, they came to us. And so I did the checking and the consultation, and the mother quietly said to me, "Can I talk to you privately?" I said, "Sure." I said, "And the reason why I need to talk to you privately is that I do not want to dramatize it too much, but I am very, very desperate." And I was listening in quite intently. She said, "I have a 23-year-old daughter. She cannot be exposed to even the littlest amount of light, sunlight, that is. The light from the artificial light, no. But sunlight, no. So whenever a ray of sunlight pierces through and it gets into the house, she will have this fever, and she will have itchiness on the skin. It's allergic to sunlight, you know. And there was I researched this later on and found that the wife of the former president of the German Federation had this problem, and she since she could not find help, she committed suicide. And so the tendency was quite, I mean, that lady was in a similar situation where she was happy to go, you know, because she has been in a house arrest, so to say, by this health condition, and for 3 years she could not get out. And so I said to her, again here, the idea is about encouragement, right? So I said to her, "I am not sure if I can help you." Now, does it sound encouraging by saying that? Now, listen. When I put myself across in the very promising way, okay, and yet you do not, or I do not really know whether or not I'm able to deal with the problem. It is encouraging to be honest. It is encouraging to be honest and truthful. So this is what I said to her. I said, I do not know if I can help you, but there is a physician that has not failed a case. His name is Jesus. And she just smiled like that. She smiled. He said, yeah, I know him too, because she's an evangelical Christian. And so I said, I trust him just as much as you trust him. So if we can join our faith together, we will see what he can do for your daughter. It took them 6 months to convince her to come over to me. And when they finally came over, she arrived at 9 o'clock in the evening, and this was during the summertime. She still has her nightshade on. I mean, what I mean that the glasses, the black glasses, you know, sunglasses rather. And so we took her to her room, and she was already shaking. I said, what happened? She said that a little bit of rays of light at the the sunset rays, it was already affecting me. And she was shaking like that. And so she came with an older sister, and she said, is there anything what you can do? I said, that's exactly the same question your mother asked me last time. I said, no, I'm not the healer. You should see the face. He goes, like, no. I said, no, I am not healer, but Jesus has never failed a case yet. So I worked with her for 3 weeks. And within the 3 weeks, she was able to go out in the morning, bright daylight, still with the sunglasses on. She could never have done that 3 years ago. For 3 years she was in the darkness of her room. So 3 weeks, and later on she went back home. She went back home driving this time, and 3 months later she went to Italy for the first time after 3 years for vacation. Now, that is encouragement in action. She was encouraged, and that is just one of the case. Medical missionary work is the best way to encourage people. There is no other way. And I can tell you stories after stories after stories. My wife also has the same experience of encouraging people who are literally saying, I am going to commit suicide. And then later on, after the person spent some time with my wife, she said, thank you for giving me the breath of life. And that was 4 or 5 years ago. She's still alive now, the woman. And not only that, her depression is gone, no more depression, and she was not ill magically. She was it was a miracle, but it was not without any effort. She had to do some effort, but it was encouragement after encouragement, and now she's completely free from depression.
Amen. Amen. So Melbourne, I know because like many individuals who are in this business of medical missionary work and ministry, we can talk. Okay, we can talk. So I love your testimonies, and I'm sure that there's somebody who would benefit from possibly having a one-to-one consultation with you, because I know there are others. It's a rare condition, but there are others who also suffer with this sunlight sensitivity, possibly even on hair. So is there any way that individuals can contact you? Because of course you worked with this person direct, and you said you couldn't really do anything until they came to you. But is there possibly any way that individuals can contact you to perhaps just liaise with you? They might not be able to wait until Kef and Lee, but they would still love to liaise with you. Is there a way they can contact you?
They can write straight to my email. You have my email, right?
Well, I don't. No, I don't actually.
Oh, no, let me.
I've got your WhatsApp.
Yeah. All right, here.
Okay, so that's going to go in the chat. And whilst that's happening, I just wanted to share something from our website before everybody disappears. Okay, the email is there for those of you who are on YouTube. Am I allowed to share with that one?
Yes,
locally?
you are.
So it's mail, MALE .bone, BONE @gmail.com. So that's mail.bone@gmail.com.
Okay, for those who wish, who has the who has the desire to communicate with me, here's the procedure. There are the two steps. Okay, number one, if it is really a serious condition, then I would need some chemistry values. So the first thing is that I would advise you to go to Lucille Python. Okay, go over there, have her check your value, and then we will discuss from there, because this is the most objective way for me to approach the situation. There must be values. I have done consultation without values, but the effectiveness is much inferior compared to with values. So first step, I will send you over there to Mrs. Feifel. She checks you, return back to me. I'll talk with you, and then here's the second one. If the condition is it requires hands-on application, then I would send you to Mrs. Feifel and Mr. Feifel, Lucille and Arthur, and then I will give them instruction if they need one. If they need instruction, then I would tell them what to do. Most of the time, Lucille and Arthur doesn't need that. They are well trained, and they are actually undergoing training at the moment from America, so they are knowledgeable. Yeah, they are quite competent in what they're doing. So but if they do need my input, I am ready.
Okay, thank you, Melbourne. And so that's Lucille, who's has her ministry, Manor House, and there are others. There are other medical missionaries on here, such as Holistic U, and there's ourselves as well as TTI, who may be able to assist as well. We're not making any huge promises, but with God's help, we can do amazing things. And you will have your testimonies that you also could be able to share, like the women who are saying, thank you for giving my life back. So thank you so much, Dr. Melbourne. Now, I just wanted to share something from my screen. And so I'll see if I can do that. Where are we? Okay, can you see my screen?
Not yet. Okay, now it's on.
Okay, right. So now, Edgar, I know you just walked in, but can you just share with our viewers what it is that you wanted us to see on the WhatsApp, on the website? Because I know some people may be struggling to get in to the website, and so we're on there. And
by the way, words of compliment, it's looking good. Well organized. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Just struggling to actually manipulate it because this Zoom bar. Oh, I can move it.
Okay,
Okay.
after Sharon, after you're done the sharing, I will also share with you a couple more things now later on.
Okay, thank you, thank you. So we have on the events page, there's the Kefin Lee link, and if you click on them, that you can go down to more. There's a link where you can get access to. Oh, there we go. Here's the main speakers. That needs updating slightly, but there is a link where you can get access to the booking form. Okay. Oh, Edgar's telling me it's under more. Okay, I'm going to have to, I should have done this beforehand because I can't actually locate it. I have located it definitely on my phone.
On home.
Okay, Edgar's telling me it's on home. And, oh, okay. Well, you know what? We'll come back to that one. But as you can see on here, we also have recipes, a giving page. So if anybody wishes to donate to the ministry, you can go on there and it takes you straight to our details on there. And the bank details. We also have group list. Here's a picture of some of the recipes we've got on here. So we've got quite, well, oh, this is what Edgar wanted to say to me. If there's anybody on here that has recipes that they would like us to share on our website, please send us the recipes and we will, on your behalf, share them with instructions. If you've got a particular ministry, we can put a link to your ministry as well. But yeah, there's a few things on there. Chia seed pudding, there's different types of noodles, there's oat pancakes, there's a smoothie with pumpkin and essential oils. There's Christmas is coming in for those of you who have family around. There's a nut loaf on there, and there's several other things. So feel free to go to our website. I will stop the share unless Edgar wants me to do something else. Forget where it says extra things on there that shouldn't be on there. Sorry, go back to events. Kevin Lee. Registry. Ah, here we go. So where it says events, there's also registration form. I missed it, just totally missed it. So there you go. There's the PDF, the booking form. So I will stop sharing now and encourage you to join us on there. And we so look forward to meeting you in person. And we can possibly, well, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what's going to happen. It's in the Lord's hands, but I'm just saying we have treatment rooms.
Okay, excellent.
I'm just saying, and my brother loves to be practical.
That's right. That's right. Okay, now let me share a few more points before wrap things up. Now, okay, so I'm sharing here. Here we are. Hold a moment. There you go. Hold a moment, please. So, can you see my screen?
It's yes, we can now.
Okay, good, excellent. Okay, now, as you can see, this is the website, and on the website we have information, exciting information of events, coming events. Yeah, so on the browser up here, you can see, you can take a picture of it, or you can write it down. www.bibleway.de. Okay, we have the English version and the Deutsch version as well, the German version. And right on the welcoming page, we have this dialogue box right here, and we are promoting several programs that would take place next year, God willing. So on the 1st to the 30th May 2023, we are going to run a 1-month medical missionary training school, and I will run this 1-month school along with Barbara O'Neill. You know Barbara O'Neill, right? So we have.
Yes, we do.
Yes, so Barbara O'Neill will work with me, and our emphasis is practicality. Okay, it's like how to deal with breast cancer, how to deal with this, how do you make tincture, how do you make suppository for different conditions, How do you make black salves? How do you make green salves to shrink and or to remove abscess or to remove cancer, tumor, this type of thing. No? So that's how we're going to conduct. I've been doing it so for since we started. That has been the main thrust of our school. The how to. It's not just lectures. Okay. So usually, like last time when Barbara Onen was with me, I said, okay. I said, Barbara, teach them about herb. And so she went out there with the students, and they went to the slopes, they went to the valley, looking for the different herbs available. That of course what Barbara knows and familiar with. But my wife was also there. She knows a lot of herbs as well. So and yeah, so that's the from the 1st to the 30th May, and we have enclosed there. I will show you later on how to access the form. Then from the 4th of June to the 15th of July 2023, we have an online public evangelism by Pastor Maurice Berry. Who doesn't know Pastor Maurice Berry?
No, I'm not familiar with him, but Barbara came to Kefenly last year.
Okay, yeah. So Pastor Maurice Berry will be conducting a 3 weeks evangelistic meeting, but it will be online based, and it will be held right here in our studio. And the last time when he was here, people has been blessed. But this time, we are targeting how do you say, people who don't, how do you call it, non-church goers or non-Adventists. This is the main target of our online public evangelism, and it will be with translation, of course, English, Deutsch presentations. Then on the 30th of July to the 6th of August, 1 week, we will have a Bible Way health camp, and it will be the presenter will be me and my wife. We are the main ones, and there are a few others as well who will be coming. But Memon Wilson will not be able to come for the camp meeting. However, the emphasis of our health camp is usually something practical, something that people can do. Okay, and we usually have the question and answer as well during the health camp. Then from the 13th to the 25th of August 2023, we have a 1 week school with Memon and Zebulon Wilson. You know them, many of you know him. So he will be here running, and the class is specifically emphasizing on how to, for the lack of better word, diagnose or how to assess the health condition of a person. Let's say someone coming to you with a cancer, someone coming to you with diabetes and different health conditions. And Brother Memon has devised a method, a system to find out the severity and to find out how to practically help the person, and what are the materials that should be used. It's all in this interesting format. So that's what we're going to be asking him to teach alongside with Zabulon. Then the 28th August to the 3rd September, that's a health camp in Wales, right? And I put down Lucille here because she's my main contact person. So that's what is going on. Now let's go over here. Let me close this on here. And if you browse, if you move your cursor on this here on the school, and you go down to 1 month training. 1 month training. You go over this side and you click on the 1 month training. That will take you to the application form. It'll take you to the application form. Give it some second. There you go. It's up. And so here it is. Excuse me. So we have the instruction right here. Just scroll down and click on it, so you can go through this. Okay. So what we will be learning in the 1 month school would be this: 1, health assessment using cutting-edge urinalysis technology, hydrotherapy, massage, lymph drainage, tincture making, massage oil making, suppository making, poultices making, black salves, green salves, immune system boosting paste, or smoothie, yeah, anti-parasite paste, treatment protocol preparation. Students are trained to deal with different health conditions as listed down here, and so on. So that's what you'll be learning, that the students will be learning, or will be trained in during the 1 month school. Is there any question right there from your side? Any question?
We're looking forward to it. We are definitely. It looks like what we'll be doing at Kefenly will be almost a continuation of what your program is anyway. So we're on the same page. We really are on the same page. And the question that came from my husband was, we need to work on a date for our part 2. How soon would you be available? Well, we can do that offline.
Then we can do it offline.
Yeah.
Can do it
Okay.
offline.
We'll do it offline to work on our suitable dates, how soon he's available.
Lovely.
Yeah, he's giving me a thumbs up. Thank you so much for sharing, Dr. Melbourne. I don't know, I don't think there were any other questions.
Okay.
So we are going to have to wrap up.
Right.
But thank you. That's absolutely brilliant. Edgar says thank you so much. He's done a thumbs up, and we'll also just update you with Kefenly as well.
Shall we end with a word of prayer? Shall we end with a word of prayer?
We can indeed. Go ahead.
Okay, let's pray. Our Father, you are the chief encourager for the billions of broken-hearted people, despondent, depressed, and some, well, not just some, but probably even millions of people have lost the desire to even live. I heard of incidences in China, in Taiwan, in America, in Europe, people jumping off buildings or bridges or cliffs because they see no more reason to live. Christians, there are Christians who have given up their faith. There are people who are naturally already in dire conditions or situations in life, concerning food, shortages of food, shortages of medicine, shortages of finance, and people are screaming. Is there anyone who would give us hope? Is there anyone who would give us, who would lend a helping hand? And the topic today, Lord, was about encouragement, how to encourage. But it's not just how to encourage in words, in theory, but rather how to encourage actively as Jesus was. We are thankful for the practicality of your method in encouraging us through the medical missionary work. You did not just teach. You did not just preach. You touch. You fed. They are all practical, helpful things that you have done when you were on earth. And it is our desire to emulate your example. Lord, I commit to you those that have been following us, have been listening to this presentation online. We do not know their conditions. Many are hurting, perhaps. Many are feeling hopeless, helpless, despondent, feeling forsaken. Could you please send to each of these people encourager, a God-sent encourager, a divinely appointed encourager. We have learned today that both encourager and those who are being encouraged, the recipients are being blessed by this very act. We thank you, my Lord, that you have given us a solid force, intrinsic force from within us, which is your law. The law that is saturated with your love, your law that is in actuality the transcript of your character written upon our hearts. You have promised to write your law upon our hearts. And we know what would happen if that is accomplished. There will be an intrinsic motivators, an energy from within us to move forward. There will be this tendency within us, an intrinsic tendency to want to positively encourage others to be optimistic, because there is a God in heaven who is more than able to help in the most practical ways. Thank you for hearing and answering our prayers. I ask continual blessings upon the ministry that Sharon and her husband and her team had formed. And I ask, my Lord, that you will crown their ministry with your grace, your mercy, so that many more will be directed to the man of Calvary, and that their souls will find rest in Christ. Thank you, thank you, thank you, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Definitely. It's been a pleasure having you on here with us. We've gone a bit longer than we normally would. However, we've had opportunity to give testimony and to share. That's what we're about. Ministries, helping ministries, and ultimately to populate God's kingdom. Thank you. It's been very practical. If I was going to ask, I didn't even ask Dr. Melbourne to share a challenge for the viewers, but I think we've been challenged with the message in itself, making our encouraging a practical encouragement, not just to say, okay, all the best, or I'm praying for you, all of which are good, but we need to make it practical. So thank you so much. We will be in touch. And for those of you who want to engage with us over the holiday period, we are there, we are available. We have the various platforms on Telegram, on WhatsApp, and on the website. So feel free to engage with us. We might not get back to you straight away, but we will be looking out for you, okay? Because you you're the reason why we do what we do. So thank you so much, everybody, and have a enjoyable holiday period. Some may be working all the way through and it might not be a holiday for you, but we appreciate what you do. Okay, so thank you, everyone, and God bless you all, and we shall see you again some other time. We will switch off on YouTube.
Okay. Goodbye, everyone. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless you. We'll be in touch very soon. And
Yes,
for those of you who, once the YouTube has gone off air, then we will be able to unmute and say our hellos and goodbyes to everyone.
Okay.
Okay. Charlene, I'm not sure if I can stop the YouTube.